Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Energize Your Online Business podcast. Hey there, Kate.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. So, in a lot of ways, I think this episode is kind of a part two. In the previous episode, we talked a lot about what doesn't work in the online business sphere, in the digital marketing sphere. And Kate, you and I both kept saying, okay, wait, so come back for the next episode when we'll tell you what actually does work. And so, here, as promised, we are in this next episode talking about what does work in the online industry, because we spent a lot of the last episode debunking a lot of myths about things that all of the marketing gurus will tell you that you have to do, about how the digital marketing industry has really become an echo chamber, and often an echo chamber of bad advice, people passing around advice that they've never actually been able to make use of for themselves. Um, I won't go too deep into that. If that interests you at all and you haven't heard it yet, check out that last episode. But as promised, here we are in this episode to talk about what does work. And when we talk about what does work, we are talking about things that we know work from our own business. And Kate and I, we run a multi-brand digital marketing business. And also in terms of what we see working for our clients, because we now also teach other business owners how to do what we have done successfully. So this is not speculative. This is not, oh, I've heard this worked or I read this in a book. This is what works every single day. And so that's what we're going to dig into today.
This episode is much more positive today, which is very exciting. We like to be talking from a positive place. So, one of the first things that we know works and is probably going to sound, well, yeah, duh, is that selling at peak excitement works. And that feels like, yeah, of course, no kidding. But the problem with that is most people don't know when that peak excitement is. They think it's maybe a different time. They think maybe I have to do a launch and I'm manufacturing that peak excitement. So it's, build up, build up, build up. And then they're at their peak once that live launch happens. Or, oh, I need to nurture them. And then they're going to be completely excited because they know all about my company now. And I've got them to this place where they're really, really excited. But that's just not the case, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's actually, and to your point, Kate, a lot of people are like, well, when is this, and can I make this happen? There's actually a natural moment at which, and a natural and very predictable moment at which everyone who interacts with you is going to be at their peak level of excitement, and that moment is when they first discover you and your solutions. That is where they are most excited about your offerings. They're most excited about there being a solution to their challenges or their problems or whatever it is, and they're most excited about getting that solution for themselves. So it's really when they first interact with you is that moment of highest excitement, highest motivation, highest interest in what you have to offer. And we see this proven again and again and again, right? We see in our email open rates, the highest open rate are the first emails we send to people. The people, when they first start following us on Instagram, they're checking out a whole bunch of stuff that we've posted, and then after that it wanes. We see this all the time, so we know that this is true, and certainly in real life, not just in digital marketing, which is also real life, but you know what I'm saying. We see this all over, but instead of taking advantage of that moment of peak excitement and giving them the solution, which we'll talk about in just a little bit about how you go about doing that, but instead of taking advantage of that moment of peak excitement, instead, we let that excitement and that motivation wane, because that's what happens to excitement and motivation. They're chemical states, and they feel great in the moment, but they're chemical states, which means that by definition, they're going to decline. They're going to wane. So if someone is at that moment of peak excitement and we don't give them a compelling offer at that moment of peak excitement, all we're doing the longer that we go is burning up that opportunity, is using up that excitement, that motivation, because it's just going to predictably, invariably decrease after that moment of peak excitement.
Yeah. And that's exactly the problem with nurturing. That's the problem with having a live launch that doesn't happen for another days, weeks, months and after someone first encounters you. And so it's almost like a carbon half-life, right? Like every day that goes by, you're just cutting that excitement and motivation in half and half and half and half to the point that, again, if you listen to episode 1, then they might not buy from you at that point because they've already found a different solution, or their just excitement has waned and now they're like, well, do I really want this? I'm not as interested. I'm not as compelled to make that purchase.
Mhm, mhm, exactly. Well, and people are so so invested in the idea of, well, I can't sell to people right when they encounter me. I have to nurture them. I have to nurture them. It's practically a law, an unspoken law, or maybe but something that we, many of us in the digital marketing space, believe so deeply, but it's not true. You don't have to spend all of these days nurturing them before you sell to them.
You can do them at the same time. Surprise. You
Hmm.
can sell and send them emails that nurture them throughout that whole process. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I think too often we like things very black and white, and this is this point of the process and this is this point of the process, when there can be overlap, and there should be overlap in order to take advantage of that peak excitement.
What most digital marketers are taught to do is to go, oh, I do have a solution, but we're going to talk about that later. First, we're going to talk about me and why I got into business and why I'm so passionate about this. Then we're going to talk about some of my other client stories who've had success, who have the same problem that you do, but who had success. And then the day after that, we're going to talk about other stories. And this nurture process, all it does is it keeps our newly acquired follower, our newly acquired subscriber, it keeps them from the solution that they want. They're coming to you saying, hey, I'm interested in this, tell me more. And all we do is we put up these barriers between them and what they want in the under the guise of nurturing. Well, we have to nurture them, we have to get them more comfortable with this, we have to, but we don't. And like you said, Kate, we don't have to. We can introduce them to us, we can introduce them to our story, we can introduce and can and should introduce them to our stories and our client testimonials and all that kind of thing, but that doesn't have to happen separately from selling. We can sell to them at the same time that we nurture them, and they can have the experience of getting to know us and getting more comfortable with us and understanding our expertise, while still getting more and more interested in the solution that we have to offer. And that means also that they have the opportunity to purchase when they're at peak excitement, not a week later after you've spent a week nurturing them, or worse, like you were saying, Kate, 3 months later when you're finally doing your live launch. And again, they may have just lost interest completely. I mean, how many times, I say this to you, Kate, but also to everybody listening, how many times have you signed up for something being like, oh, this could be good, and you don't have the opportunity to purchase, and then you never interact again, you don't open the emails, and you
Mhm.
become less interested, and you know what, it doesn't matter anyway. And or you go, oh, this is what I want. Oh, I can't get it from them. Well, I'm going to find out who I can get it from, because now I've realized there is a solution and I need that solution. So if we're holding people back from purchasing the solutions that they want, we're either or both burning up that motivation and excitement, or we are actively encouraging them to buy from our competitors. And that is I was going to say it's crazy, but it's also what we are taught to do. So if you are listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing, it's not your fault. This is absolutely what we have all been taught to do, without stepping back and going, no, wait a minute here. This actually doesn't make sense. And when it happens to me as the subscriber, as a person who's interested in
You hate
purchasing,
it.
I hate it.
Well, it's like when politicians are asked a question and then they completely answer a completely different question. That level of frustration is what your customers are experiencing when they're saying, "Hey, you have something. Tell me more about this something and how I can get my hands on it." Or, maybe not hands literally, but how can I get this? It's you start nurturing with other information. It's just that same thing of like, "Wait, but that's not what I asked. That's not what I wanted." aren't you going to offer me something that helps why I came here in the first place?
Mhm.
And I know, price comes up a lot in this of like, well, I can't sell them a $500, $600,000 offer right off the bat. Like they need to be nurtured, but that's just not the case, right? If people see the value in what you have to offer and they understand the value and you've communicated that, then it doesn't matter how much it costs.
Yeah, people will buy something if they want it badly enough. But it's also not their job to figure out that they want it. It's our job to explain what makes it so fantastic to get them to want it and to buy it. And again, we're not talking about tricking people or anything like that. We're talking about simply effectively helping people understand why this is the best solution for them. And when someone understands why something is the best solution, why it's so valuable to them, and they want it badly enough, they will purchase. I mean, when you think of the things that we purchase from, $800, $1,200, actually, how much are they right now? iPhones are 16. I don't know.
I don't
I guess I need to upgrade. Like, do you need an iPhone? Do you need a $1,200 iPhone to keep you alive? Probably not. But you want it enough that you're willing to go, yeah, I want to pay $1,200 for a piece of glass that I then have to buy all this other stuff to go with it. But and another great example is college, universities. I mean, we are looking at anywhere from, $20,000, $25,000 to multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars for something that we have just been, uh, we as people have been taught, or as a society, maybe is a better way to put it, taught that, well, you have to go to college because that's how you start your career. But we can pay hundreds of thousands of dollars with no guarantee of actually getting any kind of job or having any way of paying it back. My point is that people value it so much that they are willing to go into deep debt in order to get it. And of course, I'm not saying that we should encourage our customers to go into deep debt, but to circle back, my whole point is that your price point can be almost anything if you can make people understand why it is so valuable to them. And that's our job and our opportunity to do that. Yeah.
And yeah, all of this leads nicely to the second thing that does work, which is allowing people to buy when they want to buy, giving them the opportunity to buy when they are ready to buy. And if they're ready to buy and their next opportunity to buy is 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever it is from that date,
Mhm.
sure, could you build back up their excitement and build it back up to that peak excitement? Probably not the peak excitement. Maybe you'll get them excited again in that launch mode, but you're then making them adhere to your schedule. You're not allowing them to buy when they want to buy. You're
Mhm.
allowing them to buy when you want them to buy. You
Mhm.
want them to buy during this, week or 2 week or however long your launch window is, and not allowing them to buy when it's best for them and when they need the solution and when they want the solution, which again is when they first encounter you, when they are most excited. And if they
Mhm.
don't have the opportunity to buy, then you're not making it convenient for them to buy when they want to.
Exactly. It should be easy for them to make purchases from us, right? I mean, imagine you're like, all right, well, I want to buy a new pair of jeans. So I'm going to go into a store, I'm going to buy a new pair of jeans. And imagine you go into that store and they're like, oh, you want new jeans? That's awesome. Super. I'm going to tell you all about all the new jeans. But you're not going to be able to buy jeans until 3 months from now. And you're like, well, but I know that you have jeans. Like you sell jeans to people. I know you have jeans. And they say, yes, absolutely. But jeans are not available for purchase for 3 months. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. If a customer comes up to you and says, "Ooh, I want to purchase from you," we shouldn't be putting up barriers. We shouldn't be making it difficult for them to purchase. And yes, there's the element of the nurturing puts up barriers, and the pushing the live launch out puts up barriers, but there can even be small barriers that really dissuade people.
And so, of course, the alternative, and as if you listen to episode 1, evergreen, the way most people do it, does not work. And so that isn't the alternative, to just throw up your offer and say, well, you told me they need to be able to buy when they want to buy, so let me throw the evergreen offer up and they can buy whenever they want. And as we know, that's not, if people can just buy whenever, they're not going to, there's no urgency, there's no reason to take action, there's
Mhm.
no incentive to take action. And then same thing with an evergreen funnel. If you're, again, letting that excitement, peak excitement, decay until they get to that offer, you might have lost them at that point. There's
Mhm.
again that urgency. It's just, there's no low energy, low excitement, kind of the
Yeah.
want is, if you could sum it up in a sound.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, and well, it's just up on my site. It's always available, so they can buy it whenever they want, and they could buy it at their moment of peak excitement. Yeah, but then your offer isn't exciting. You're not making your offer exciting, so you can't expect someone at their moment of peak excitement to purchase just because they can purchase something. Like, I'm at my peak excitement. That's great. But if your offer is like, well, here's what it is, your offer has to meet them at that same level of excitement. And if it doesn't have urgency, if it doesn't have any kind of deadline, human beings, we don't take action unless there's a deadline. There's a reason why coupons always have a deadline on them. There's a reason why
Mhm.
you have to return your library books by a certain date, because we don't do things if we don't have a deadline. And then again, to your
Mhm.
point, Kate, we keep going back to this concept of nurture, nurture, nurture. The evergreen funnels, like, oh well, that's the solution. The evergreen funnel, it's automated, it's so much easier. All you're doing is burning up that excitement, and then often you're giving them a eh, meh kind of offer, and then when they don't buy the meh offer, well, best of luck. They're on your list, but they're never going to get a chance to purchase that again. It's not an effective way to make it quote unquote easy for them to purchase. It's not. It's a really effective way to get people on your list and to lose their attention very, very quickly. Um,
Mhm. So to recap, points 1 and 2 kind of really go hand in hand. You want to make it easy for them to buy, but enable that at their peak when they're most excited.
and then that brings us to point three, which is a little bit different from the previous two. But it is the concept of don't teach, give them breakthroughs, which is very much also flies in the face of everything that we're told in the digital marketing industry. Is like, no, 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 teach, 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 give your best stuff away, teach, give a ton of content, teach, 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 teach. And because you're teaching so much, either they're going to be or either they're going to get a small win, and then they're going to want a bigger win, or they're going to be so inspired that they're going to want to learn more. And they're a couple of really, really fundamental errors here that, again, once you dig into it, you go, well, now wait a minute here. That doesn't actually make much sense. You do that. Well, I'm going to teach on a webinar and I'm going to teach like crazy. I'm going to give away so much. They're just going to be amazed and they're going to want to purchase from me. It's not how it works. Number one, because if you teach, teach, teach like crazy, and they will often hear, well, you have to give them a small win, and then they're going to be inspired and they're going to want to buy that big win. That's not often how it works. Usually, and which I'm not to say, this is not to say that it absolutely never works, certainly, but it usually converts at a very, very small rate, right? If people get a small win, often what they'll either think is, well, I've got this small win. That's all I
Good
need.
enough.
I'm
Yeah.
good. I can. This is all I need. Or they get the small win and they go, all right, well now I pretty much understand this. I'm pretty sure I can figure out the big win on myself on my own, so I don't need to purchase this entire program. And either way, this teach, 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 and giving them the small win has actually encouraged them not to purchase.
You kind of allowed them to figure it out and get over that big first roadblock or hump, if you will. And now they're going.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken action.
Yeah, you've made it seem easy for them, which is great. And that's what you want to do once they're in your program, right? But when you make it seem easy for them, they go, oh, all right, I get this. I get all of this. Great. I'm going to do the rest of it on my own.
Yeah, or the alternative, you have people that are, you're teach, and they're learning something and they just feel burnt out. You're probably exhausted from teaching, but then your audience is probably just as exhausted from saying, oh, wow, like I learned a lot and now I just need to either sit and process with this, or maybe this isn't for me, or you start planting doubts and seeds of just resistance in their minds to say, oh gosh, if this was the free thing, can I even do the full thing? Do I have the energy? Do I have the bandwidth? Am I, all these other objections that weren't there before. But then also just again talking about peak excitement, learning isn't exciting necessarily. Sometimes it's if you get the win, yeah, it might be a little like, "Ooh," but it's tiring. It's getting out of our comfort zones. It's you're then losing the willpower to have to make any other decisions throughout the day because you've burnt up a lot of energy doing
Mhm.
something that was just highly mentally taxing.
Yeah, exactly. It's this idea of like, oh, if you teach them, they're going to be so excited and they're going to be dying to learn more. I was actually doing a talk a couple of months ago, and I said, all right, well, let's talk this through then. Okay, so the concept is if we teach them, they're going to be dying to learn more. Okay, so let's see how this is played out in real life. Who here has been to school? And of course, a little bit of laughter and not a ton, to fully honest. But I said, all right, so you went to school, and when you would go to school every day, were you just dying to learn more? And of course, everyone was like, well, no, school was fine. I said, okay, well, what about college? For those of you who went to college, in college, you get to choose your course of study often. So how many of you were just super thrilled every day to be going to classes, right? And everyone's going, oh, yeah. And I said, okay, what about courses? We are in this industry. We buy courses and we buy trainings and we buy programs to improve our business. How many of you are super excited to buy it? And then when you have to sit down and actually learn, all of a sudden you are not thrilled. You're not dying to learn again. You have to put time on your schedule to go through this module and because that's how it is. Fundamental, like, and I don't mean to say this, learning, I'm not at all saying that learning is a bad thing. By any learning is essential. It is, I forget who learning is fundamental, but it's it's not exciting. It's not inspiring. It's certainly important, but it's not going to be the spark that makes people go, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so inspired. I've got to purchase this program. It's not. Learning is okay, I'm taking notes. I'm taking this in. It is truly physiologically, it's an exhausting experience because your mind is taking in new concepts and that drains the energy. So when you are teaching, all you are doing is draining people's energy. You're putting a further drain on that like excitement and that inspiration and that motivation. And so instead of teaching, what you want to do is to give people breakthroughs, to help them understand new concepts without breaking down exactly how to do this and how to do this. You are going to give them breakthroughs when it comes to the what and the why. Because learning the hows is exhausting. But when you help people understand new things and you focus on the what and the why, that is when people get excited and they get inspired and they want to eventually then learn the how. They want to learn how to implement or learn how to do what it is that you promise them that they will be able to do in your program.
And yet breakthroughs are not only are they exciting, but they're exciting because there's hope with them, right? There's it's this thing I didn't even know was maybe possible. I thought something different for the longest time and I kept getting stuck down this other path that I tried and tried and tried and oh, I didn't realize there was this completely other path that I could go down and explore or I just didn't know this was a possible solution because I'd never been introduced to it. It's exciting because there's hope and there's possibility
Mhm.
for what's next. There's possibility for them to have their own breakthrough in their life of not just okay I realized that this was possible but now I could go down this path and what are the possibilities there and how exciting is that to be able to imagine what that could be.
Yeah, well, and it's like our circuit sales system students know them as paradigm shifts when we talk about breakthroughs. But the concept is we're saying to people like, look, you've thought it was this way. You've always thought it was this way. Maybe you've been told it was this way. But guess what? It's actually not that way at all. It's this totally different way, or it's this totally different concept. And when you explain that to them and you make it clear to them, and to Kate, your point, that like it's not your fault if you were not successful doing it this other way, because this other way is wrong. it gives them that moment of hope, enlightenment, and allows them to to believe in you and believe in what you're saying. It is
Mhm.
it's not sucking energy with with teaching and learning. It is infusing energy with breakthroughs, with opening up, with turning uh, the metaphor really works with turning the light bulb on, where they go,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, that's why I haven't been successful, or that's what I need to be doing instead. And our students know that we have a lot of other ways and very specific methods of supporting that breakthrough and making it even more powerful, get them to take action. But it's that moment of, it's that light bulb moment that allows them to understand something new, but also helps them get bought into you. Once they understand that things are not the way they thought they were, then they start to realize that you have the solution, that you are someone that they can listen to. Because as you talk them through that breakthrough and it makes sense to them, all of a sudden they understand that you have a level of expertise that they need and is different from all of the other people who have been saying this thing to them that didn't work. And so they're
Mhm.
listening, willing then to listen to you, and willing also to listen to all of the other things that you have to say, because now they understand that breakthrough and they believe you because you are the one who turned on that light bulb for them.
Yeah. It completely builds trust in what you have to offer because you get them. You're
Mm-hmm.
showing that you understand exactly where they are and what they're going through, which they probably haven't experienced until this point. So it completely builds that trust of, okay, they are speaking exactly to what I'm going through. That means they get it. So I'm going to listen to what else they have to say because they completely understand where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we'll kind of wrap up in just a second, but these are really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what does work when
Mhm.
you're listening to all of, you have to do live lunches, or you have to do evergreen, or you have to, what kills me, and I think we might have talked about this in the other episode, is when people are like, evergreen is what you have to do right now, so hop on to my live webinar tomorrow at 6 and I'll explain to you why evergreen works. I mean, I've gotten those emails in my inbox, and I'm sure that you have too, and I'm sure the listeners have too. But this is really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of using tactics that are different from what everybody else is doing, but that when you actually think about them and you think of even just your experience with purchasing, they make sense. If there's a lot of stuff that some of the bigger gurus do, or the bigger digital marketing people say, well, you have to do this, but they're not in the same place that we were. The same tactics aren't going to work for us that work for those the big names in the industry, because yeah, people will wait 6 months or a year to buy from the big name. And if you are one of those big names, awesome, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not, you have to connect with your potential customers in a totally different way, and you have to catch them at their peak excitement, and you have to make it easy for them to purchase from you. And you don't have the luxury of just like, well, I'm just going to teach what I already know. That's not that's not marketing, that's teaching, right? And that absolutely should be, it's very valuable, and that absolutely should be in your program or your course or your one-on-one or whatever it is that you sell. But the
To
place
people
for
that
that,
paid you. Yeah.
yes, to people who paid you, but the place for that is not before they purchase. That is the
Mhm.
place where you want to be giving them breakthroughs. So again, tip of the iceberg. However, these are three concepts that if you start to implement them in the right way, are going to have massive, massive impacts on your business. Our circuit sales system students are seeing that. We see that in all of the brands on our business. And quite frankly, that's why we developed the circuit sales system, because we used it first to sell all of our other businesses, and we knew how well it worked to sell, and to sell on autopilot. So this is something that is absolutely worth digging into, and we would encourage you. We'll have some links in the show notes if you're interested and want to see more. Absolutely go for it, because we dig in even more in a free training that we offer, a free video on demand video, and then of course in our circuit sales system program. But We also have all kinds of in-depth strategy, turning some stuff on its head, also some great interviews coming up. So we will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Do you want to learn how to sell and scale your offer on autopilot every single day without the chaos of live launching or the low conversions of Evergreen? Who doesn't, right? Get our free on-demand video training at circuitsalessystem.com/free. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to make sure you never miss a video. We'll catch you next time.